Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Jag here. In today's class, we're going to continue with our Math 10 content. And what we're covering today is the midpoint of a line segment. So with that, let's get started. All right, so here we are. And I put down the title here, midpoint of a line segment. Okay, we're going to go through just a couple of really simple examples today. All right, so everyone remembers how to do the midpoint of a line segment. So I'm going to read out the first example. So a city hospital or city has two hospitals shown on the city map. I have coordinates for hospital A, which is 3 and 5, as well as hospital B, okay, which is given as 11 and 14. So these are the coordinates of the hospital. The city wants to build a new ambulance station halfway between the two hospitals. Determine the coordinates of this location. So because the actual station for the ambulance is going to be halfway in between the two hospitals, I can see that we're looking for the midpoint between these 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to write down the formula here for the midpoint. So what you're doing is you're adding the x coordinates together. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay, and we're just going to substitute these numbers into the formula. This is my first point, so I'm going to put x1, y1. This is my second point. I'm going to put x2, y2. Okay, everyone's good? Let's sub it in here. So x1 is 3, y1 is 11. So we're going to do 3 plus 11 divided by 2. y1 is 5 and y2 is 14. Okay, so we're going to do 5 plus 14 divided by 2. Okay, and so what we're left with here is going to be 14 over 2. 5 plus 14, which is 19. 19 over 2. Okay, make sure you're always writing, okay, your answer is going down. And what we have here is going to be 7 and 9.5. Okay, and this is basically the midpoint between hospitals A and B. Okay, and this is going to be the location of the new ambulance station. Okay, does everyone see how to do that? Okay, so that looks good. Let's go to the next example. Okay, for the next example, what we're going to do is the right bisector. Okay, this is the line that passes through the midpoint of a line segment and it intersects it at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so let's try this example. I'm going to read it out loud. Two schools are located at the points P, which is -1 and 4, and point Q, okay, which is going to be 7 and -2. They're located on the town map. The school board is planning a new sports complex to be used by both of the schools. The board wants to find a location that is equidistant from the two schools. Okay, use an equation to represent the possible locations for the sports complex. So first I'm actually just going to do, okay, what we should do is basically just like a really quick sketch here. And again, make sure you're using a ruler, okay? So I have -1 and 4. Okay, so let's make a dot here. This is point P. Okay, point Q is 7 and -2. Okay, so this is the point. This is point Q right here. Okay, everyone see that? Take your time and you notice we're just going to join the two dots together. Okay, and what we're doing is we're actually looking for the equation. Okay, so what I want to do, okay, this is for the right bisector. What we're going to do first, okay, is we're going to find the midpoint of point PQ. Okay, so this is the first thing I want to know. Okay, so we're going to sub it into our equation, midpoint PQ. And again, let's just like label this here. Okay, so I'm going to put x1, y1, the first point, second point, x2, y2. And what we're doing is we're just going to add the x coordinates together divided by 2. Okay, so we're doing -1 plus 7 divided by 2. Then you're going to add the y coordinates and divide it by 2. Okay, so we're basically doing like 4 plus -2 divided by 2. Okay, so just like this. And then what we're left with, so negative 1 plus 7 is 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And the second one is going to be 4 plus negative 2, which is 2 divided by 2, which is equal to 1. So this is actually the midpoint of PQ. So we're going to take this. It's 3 and 1. Okay, and we're going to just put it into our diagram. And we can see that the diagram again, because it is just a sketch, but I can see it is very accurate. Okay, so what we're actually looking for, so I'm going to make a straight line like this. Okay, so notice this line. So this is basically going to be your right bisector. So let's write it maybe right here. So the right bisector. And we're looking for the equation. We're basically looking for the equation of this, okay, this line right here. I'm going to put capital M, okay, representing the midpoint for PQ. All right, so we're not done yet. The only thing we found so far is the midpoint of PQ. In the second step, we're going to look for the slope, okay, of PQ. Okay, I'm going to write down the formula for the slope. And note down when you're doing the slope, you have to use the lowercase m. Okay, so m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and we're doing PQ here. Okay, so again, just use these letters. Okay, and that's why again, we're just going to put it into the formula here. So we're doing y2, which is negative 2, minus y1, which is 4. Negative 2 minus 4, okay, over x2, which is 7, minus x1, which is negative 1. So we're going to write it here. So 7 minus negative 1. Okay, I'm just going to write it going across because we don't have too much space. But what you're left with here on the top numerator is negative 6. This becomes 7 plus 1, which is equal to 8. Again, don't leave your answer like this. I notice I can just like reduce this. Okay, so we're going to reduce this to negative 3 over 4, okay, by dividing it by 2 on the top and the bottom. So now I notice I have the slope, okay. So the last thing we're looking for is going to be basically the equation, okay. And this is not the equation of PQ, okay. It's actually the equation of the right bisector. Notice the right bisector is actually intersecting at a 90-degree angle, okay. So what you're actually going to do here is we're going to sub it into the y equals mx plus b equation. Remember, this is the equation of a straight line, okay? Now we have our slope here, which is negative 3 over 4, but this is the slope of PQ. The slope for our line is going to be the negative reciprocal. So you're going to take 3 over 4, negative 3 over 4, flip it over so it becomes 4 over 3. And notice it becomes positive because it's a negative reciprocal. This slope is already negative, and I'm adding another negative sign, which is making it positive. So y equals 4 over 3x plus b, okay? The point I'm going to sub into this equation is 3 and 1. So let's take a look at the diagram here. That's the point at 3 and 1, which is the midpoint. This is the only point that's actually on this line, okay? So notice I can't use point P or point Q to sub into my equation because that doesn't make sense, okay? And the point that you use to find the equation has to lie on that line, okay? So we're going to sub in 1 for y here times 4 over 3 times 3 for x here, okay? And notice the 3 on the top and bottom cancels out. You're taking the 4 to the other side, okay? So b is equal to 1 minus 4. B is equal to negative 3, okay? And you're always just solving for the value of b here. So let's put down our final equation of our right bisector is going to be 4 over 3x minus 3, okay? And I'm just going to box our final answer. And this is what we are getting, okay? Always make sure you're showing your work, okay, as you're solving the answer here. So the equation for the right bisector of PQ is given as y equals 4 over 3x minus 3. And this equation represents the possible locations for the sports complex. Okay, and so just to recap here, this is for the right bisector. Remember, you can also be looking for the equation for the altitude or the median. Very similar. There will be 3 steps, okay, that you have to do, and we will cover it in the next video. All right, so to recap here, I have 2 points given. I drew a quick sketch here just to see what I'm solving for. I started off with solving for the midpoint of PQ, okay? So when you're doing the right bisector, I do have to find the midpoint. We found the slope of PQ in the second step because I know that the slope of this line of the right bisector is going to be the negative reciprocal. Okay, so negative 3 over 4. We flipped it over to 4 over 3. And the point that we substituted in here was the midpoint, okay, for x and y, just so we can solve for the value of b. All right, and that gave us our final equation, okay, which was y equals 4 over 3x minus 3. All right, so that looks good. And if there are no questions, that does bring this video to an end. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you do like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see everyone in the next video. Thanks, bye.